in your courts is where I wanna be. One day there ran 1,000 elsewhere. In your courts is where I wanna be.
Hey friends, today I wanted to share all about why I should not have waited so long to read the Bible chronologically, why this was such an amazing journey for me, and why you should give it a try too if you have never read the Bible chronologically. Let's first talk about what is reading the Bible chronologically. If you've never heard of it, it means reading the Bible in the order of which the events happened. Interesting fact, the books of the Bible are actually organized not in the events that were happening, but by type. So I found this little chart online, thought it was amazing. It shows how the Bible books are classified. So the first number of books of the Bible are history books. Then we have poetry books, then we have prophecy, and then you get into the Gospels and another history book, and then the epistles. So that is how the Bible is organized in all of our Bibles. But chronologically reading through the Bible is completely different. You're reading not by the organization of them being classified by type, but by how these events happen. It is such a revolutionary way of reading the Bible. So I did this from 2019 to the beginning of this year, 2023. So it took me quite a while. You can do this in a year's time, but I chose to take my time doing it. Why did I choose to read the Bible this way? Well, my mom had told me how amazing this was for her. And someone had actually given her a chronological Bible. So I want to show you, I'll put this up on the screen. You can actually buy a Bible that is organized chronologically if you would like to read through it that way. I just went on this website and it listed the verses or the chapters in chronological order, and that's how I did it. I'll also link that website below too. But my mom said she loved doing it and she encouraged me to do it. Well, it took me a while to do it. I wish I had not waited as long because, oh my goodness, me reading through the Bible this time, I have read through the Bible multiple times before, but this time I really began to start to understand the story of the Bible, because instead of reading like this book and then this book and things are kind of out of order, it's hard to see like the clear timeline of events from Genesis to Revelation of these things happening. I really began to see, okay, this is where this book fits in. This is where this character fits in more. And of course, I need to do this again. I need to do the reading through the Bible chronologically again, because I'm sure I'll learn more and there's a lot to learn. I want to keep reading through the Bible, but this really, I feel like was a very big turning point for me to understand a little bit more of what's going on in the Bible. So let me give you an example. You're like, okay, it sounds interesting, but like, what's so great about it? For example, you're going to read the first 11 chapters of Genesis, and then you're going to read Job, because Job happened potentially around the time of Abraham, which is quite interesting, because if you read the Bible normally, bring back up this chart, you're not going to read Job till you've read how many books of the Bible? 10, 12 of them. But Job was actually a very early event in the biblical story narrative. And then what gets very fun and interesting is when you start getting into 1st, 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, and 1st Kings, you're going to be reading those books of the Bibles as well as Psalms interjected, because Psalms most of them were written by David. And that's really cool. And what was the best part, okay, that's amazing, but what was even better for me was having the prophetic books in the order they were written. So you're reading books that are history books along with these prophetic books and starting to get the story. And also they organize, so sometimes you'll read multiple prophetic books in a row, but it's again in the order in which they happen. So this is really cool because you're kind of understanding more the narrative. Okay, what is this prophet talking about? What is going on right now? I always had a hard time understanding these prophetic books and what was really the point of what they were talking about. And of course, I still have so much more to learn. But this was the first time where I was like, okay, this is almost like coming to life for me in a much more amazing way. And I began to appreciate like Jeremiah. I was like, Jeremiah, this is an awesome book. I mean, always Isaiah is amazing, but I began to understand like, okay, this is like Jeremiah is like during the exile period, and this is what's going on with the Israelites. And so it was very, very transformative for me. Now, when you get into the New Testament, which is what is interesting, is you'll be reading all 4 Gospels simultaneously at the same time. So you read like one chapter of Matthew and then one chapter of John, like all of that. So you're going to be reading like different narratives of the same story, but all at the same time, which I think is pretty cool. So why should you, I mean, if I didn't convince you enough now, why should you read the Bible chronologically? If you want to understand God's story in a better way and how each book of the Bible fits into that story, then you will want to try reading the Bible chronologically. I guarantee you that God's going to reveal some things to you that you didn't know about his word. And so that's why I highly, highly recommend trying out reading the Bible chronologically. Take your time. You don't have to do multiple chapters a day. That's not how I did it. I read about 1 chapter a day. Sometimes I would read a little less. Sometimes I would go back and read a chapter again, but I really, really enjoyed it. I would love to know in the comments, have you ever read the Bible chronologically? Maybe you even own a chronological Bible. Would love to know that. And if you haven't, let me know what you're doing in your Bible reading time now. I would love to know. Alrighty, that's all I have to share with you guys today. I'll see you next week, next Tuesday for my next video. Talk to y'all soon. Bye, guys.